So we are not necessarily going by the order of gender at the moment, but we're going to get there. I'm just going to do some brief welcome opening remarks. And that's in part because all of you have said such wonderful things about the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund that it's no need of repeating it. But our mission is to help to improve the overall health, wellness, well-being of women, men, and young girls. And we do this through outreach, support, education, and advocacy, because we advocate for their well-being in an effort to help to reduce the incidence and mortality rates of breast cancer. As many of you know, our nation's capital has one of the highest incidence and mortality rate of breast cancer in the country. And it is women who look like me who are adversely affected. I am also pleased to have with us a wonderful and impressive lineup of speakers that our MC will tell you all about. But I especially want to welcome Major Johnnie Hickson, the spouse of our dear friend, Brea Hickson, who will be a part of a memorial, a Candlelight memorial, very briefly. So I am happy to have Edward Jones to MC this meeting. Edward and I go way back. I'll let him tell you a little bit about that, so I'm not bragging on myself. But he, as he's mentioned, is a prostate cancer survivor, and he's done a lot of work in the field of philanthropy. I know this because I've worked side by side with him. So Edward, please join me, everyone, in welcoming our MC and facilitator for the evening, Edward Jones.
You know, I love calling you Cousin Jones because I say all Joneses are related some kind of way. So it is an honor to have you as my cousin, Cousin Jones, and nice to meet those of you on here that I don't know yet, but I'm looking forward to getting to know and being in community with. I had the pleasure last month, I think, of sharing my story, and it was an honor to be able to be in the company of folk. I know just how invaluable it is. I've learned real time firsthand to how critically important it is to have community, even if it's a community of one other person, to help in the navigation process and understanding the process of not just being diagnosed, but then all of the things that go with that. I'm a proud member of Zion Church in the DC area, and it was just a couple months ago, I'm happy to be part of a men's group where we talked about this very issue around men's wellness and the idea of how important it is to be in this space. I've been in this space in Health Equity Summit through the Congressional Black Caucus with Thelma, who I ran into there a few months ago as well. So the more we know, we talk about these things, the more we can bring attention to it. And I know, which is what's critically important, our collective goals around finding cures and treatments to make this thing a thing of the past. These issues as they show up in so many different ways in our lives. Also noting there's a documentary that I was kind of in a focus group around a few months ago that I'll see if I can find if they've posted it through the Cancer Navigation Network, that was centered on the idea of dismantling or dispelling issues around stigma with respect to clinical trials. And it's such an important element that shows up for us. The stigma and the information around it was really, their goal was to really mitigate the questions and the mistrust, because we as a people know all the reasons why we don't trust things like clinical trials and the like. And so I learned through you all. I learned about my journey. I hope you learned a little something from me as I'm on this journey as well. But the biggest blessing that keeps my heart beating and singing is the fact that I know that we are in these things together. I'm not alone in this work. And so I think it would be appropriate in the spirit of a recent loss of a soul that I did not know personally, but Brother Hickson's losing his soulmate due to inflamed breast cancer, which is an issue that I never had heard of before now. I think it's an appropriate time for us to continue this conversation and lead in, if I may, with a prayer, Thelma. And part of this work, I know when our folks go to be with the ancestors in this spirit, is that I didn't light a candle, so I have a candle here as a way of paying tribute and honor, Brother Johnnie, to you and your family, in not the loss, but in the transition of your wife to a better place. This candle I'm burning right now is an interesting name. I grabbed a candle because I keep a lot of candles around me, and it's from a company in Baltimore. But the candle is number 17 East African Amber. That's the fragrance of this candle, and in the spirit of the origin of all of us, I want to just lift this up and just give a few moments of prayer. So if we can all bow our heads, please close our eyes and be in agreement and one accord. Dear God, we are breathing and seeing a day that you have made. As we know, these days are numbered for each and every one of us. But while we are here, we are also having a mission. We have jobs and duties to do to be of better service, not only from our spiritual selves, but our human selves, Lord. I thank you for each day that I walk this earth, and I thank you for each and every person on this call, knowing that we all have myriad struggles. We all overcome so many things, and you know what those things are. And you know that you are truly a balm for us as we navigate this work, no matter what our faith practices are, how we show up in this world, knowing at the heart of our human bodies is a soul and a spirit. And that soul and spirit can easily be, no matter where we are on this planet, be on one accord when we are looking and keeping our eyes on the proverbial prize of making sure that we are of good service and are good stewards of the time, talent, treasure, and life that we have. May each breath that we take be one that's of service. May it be one that we do not take for granted. And please continue to grant us with the life that at the end of the day, our loved ones can say it was a life well lived. For these things, and in your name and for your son's sake, I say at this moment, amen, and thank God.
Thank you, Edward. We were hoping to show a wonderful video of Brea talking about part of her journey on inflammatory breast cancer and raising awareness of it. Because of some technical issues, we are unable to access the video, but we definitely will gain access, and it will have a permanent spot on the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund website, along with information from the American Cancer Society about metastatic breast cancer. So at this time, because I know, Johnnie, you've been very patient, I'd like to welcome Major Johnnie Hickson from the United States Army to share tribute about his lovely wife.
Yes, thank you, Miss Thelma. We appreciate. First of all, thank you. I appreciate you allowing me to come on your platform and just continue to spread my wife's message. We always felt that it was important to continue to advocate and to continue to reach out because we were at an unfair advantage to start. For those of you that did not have the ability to watch the video, the video essentially gives the story of how Brea was diagnosed with breast cancer and how she went through a couple misdiagnoses and was and it was mainly because of how her skin looked and the issues that she was having wasn't being looked at as severe as we had liked it to be. So they kept giving her antibiotics and things like that, and they ended up being stage 4 breast cancer once after we had our son, and she went to a couple different lactation consultants. So we started there at stage 4. So we were up against we knew we had a long journey ahead of us, from the jump there. But I will say, in the interest of time, I do want you all to understand that advocacy is a passion for people, right? It's a love for others. It's not about the person that's going through the challenge. That person is currently in the challenge. Their fight is to prevent, right there. That's what the advocacy is for. It's to prevent and also to be there for folks that are also in the fight with them. And my wife, she embodied that spirit to the best of her ability. And behind every video, behind every TikTok post, behind every photo, there was somebody that was there to support her. And 99.9% of the time, that person was me. So um, kind of like I mentioned earlier when I was talking to some of the group, I really and truly believe that over time we develop one voice, right? And it was such a beautiful thing to experience the kind of love that we had, and the love that and the way we've endured. So I think that's a testimony to how good God is, and how I was in His favor to for Him to bless me for a wife of her caliber. I'm so thankful to just have had the opportunity just to enjoy the time with her, and it was difficult during it, but now that I'm on the other side, I'm starting to slowly understand that people were placed into our lives at certain times to do certain things. Jobs were placed into our lives during certain times for different purposes. Supervisors, friends, you name it. Everything lined up perfectly, and ended up for a beautiful transition for my wife. Um, Although the journey was long, it was hard fought, but she didn't do it on her own. It was through groups like this and friendships that she made throughout her journey that kept her fighting. There was never a morning that I woke up and I didn't see Brea on like a prayer call, or a support group call, or just I don't want to say giving, but volunteering her time, right, and mental capacity, to help folks, to be there for them, and do food drives, and volunteer with Miss Thelma, and coming up and speaking at her events, and going to speak at events in Norfolk, and we had it was just so much, and she did that while being an awesome mom, an awesome wife, an awesome coworker, an awesome friend. So um I'm new to this new chapter in my life, but I can honestly say that my wife uh not only wrote all the previous chapters, but she also closed them out, right? So she closed out this last chapter of our life, and she did so with so much grace and so much beauty. Um, as I mentioned earlier, our kids, started school on Monday. So, I looked around on Friday, when everything was happening, and, there were the book bags already packed with all the school supplies separated. And, I got Kleenexes, and I got everything that I could possibly ask for just there waiting on me, so I can make sure to take the kids on to school on Monday, no matter, what happened. I got fall boxes arriving from, who knows where, that Brea ordered with fall clothes for all the kids. Like, this woman was so way beyond her time, and we really took the time to plan and talk about, how we're going to take care of the family and honor her even after she's gone. So even though you're in the fight, I will say there's still joy to be found. There's still ways to, you know, continue to build families and nurture your kids and look out for their future. And I say I have so much to share, and I know that I'll have more opportunities, but I just want y'all to let y'all know that, you know, the time that you have together, enjoy it, spend it with quality and love and, you know, hugs and kisses. And, you know, and when you're on the other side like this, you're not gonna wish, you know, you had more time. You're not gonna, you know, wish she was still here, you know, going through the MRI machines and drinking the nasty uh drink that she had to drink before the CT scans and things like that. And, you know, all the shots and the chemo, the blood draws, like that stuff hurt me every day to see my wife have to do that. It hurt my soul because I had no nothing to do. But I tell you, you know, enjoy it, be there with each other, love your family, tell them you love them while they're here, embrace them, and just don't waste the time, enjoy it, and just be there for one another. And I hope people get to experience the type of love and the joy and, you know, just the overall just spirit of the love that we had. And I look forward to talking to more people and more families and more, you know, couples, relationship, marriages, whatever it is, you know, because you know, we've been there. We've been there. It's not tough. It's not easy. Excuse me. It's a very hard thing to do, and I truly believe that, you know, if you're committed to each other, you know, you can endure it too, and hopefully one day, you know, people can experience what I experienced, and it's such a beautiful thing, and I'm so thankful that I was able to do that for her. Yeah.
Johnnie, uh, thank you so much for those heartfelt
Yes, ma'am.
tribute. I know that this has to be difficult for you, but I am happy that the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund is here for you now, because we truly believe that no one should walk their journey alone. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the incident. I guess it was about 2 months ago when the two of you came here. And I remember Johnnie couldn't find a parking space that would end up, when they walked out there, their car would be towed away. So Brea said, I'm only going to be here for about 5 or 10 minutes. So it's okay. He doesn't mind waiting. And I'm still trying to get him to come in a house that wasn't presentable enough for guests to come in. But he said, no, it's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind waiting. He wanted to make sure his car wasn't towed. Smart man, too. At any rate, those 5 or 10 minutes ended up being almost 2 hours. But what was fascinating about that is I never saw her look at her phone saying, oh, Johnnie is getting impatient, Miss Jones, I need to go. Or I never heard him call, hey, Brea, don't forget I'm still out here waiting. So when he said that he's been there supporting her, he truly means that. And most of the events that I attended with Brea, Johnnie, and many times the kids were there. And if you have to get 3 kids dressed to go places, that in itself is not an easy feat. So my heart goes out to you. And as I said earlier, I wish you guys stayed closer to me so that I could help more being a nanny. But then if you were closer to me, then you'd be farther away from some of your regular support. But we are here. And as you know, I made a commitment to Brea that I would do everything that I could to help to keep her legacy alive. And that's a promise that I know won't waver. So thank you again. And
Thank you so much.
Thank you. And I'm going to turn it back over to Edward to introduce Tswana.
I'm just moved by all of that and all of the story. Gosh, thank you for sharing your heart with us, brother. Yeah, so next up, would like to introduce you all to Tswana Sewell, who is the Vice President of the DC and Baltimore Northeast Region American Cancer Society. I'll put a name in the chat as you share your remarks, because there's someone that goes to my church that's also with the Cancer Society that I just discovered at a group recently. So, Sister Sewell, please share your thoughts and reflections and guide us as you need to in this space.
Well, thank you. Let me just first, Major Hickson, thank you for sharing a bit about your wife. You may remember that he served as one of our Faces of Hope in 2023, an American Cancer Society honor that we have for breast cancer survivors and thrivers and those going through the journey. And we just really appreciate you sharing her with us for a bit. And we're going to be sharing a bit about how she fought back against cancer for everyone, right? Through our channels at the American Cancer Society. So please know that you have our condolences.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So the American Cancer Society, as I mentioned earlier, we do fight back against all cancers. Our vision is to end cancer as we know it for everyone. And we do that through three major ways, through advocacy, making sure that laws are in place that protect cancer patients and their families, through direct patient services like free rides and free lodging to treatment, and so much more. And then through research, we have been a part of every major breakthrough since the inception of our research program in 1946. And since we're talking about breast cancer today, we funded the doctor that developed tamoxifen, and in less invasive way to treat breast cancer. We also funded the researcher who discovered the BRCA genes to help kind of look at hereditary risk. And so the foundation of everything that we do is health equity. And so Miss Thelma Jones invited me to come on and speak to you today about our Voices of Black Women population study. I won't go into all of the statistics, just hearing the conversation so far today, you all are quite aware of the cancer disparities that exist for African American women. We have a higher mortality rate, even though we have a similar incidence rate for almost all cancers. And specific to breast cancer, we are 40% more likely to pass from the disease, and we are also being diagnosed much younger. Again, all a part of the conversation earlier today. And so while the American Cancer Society has known this and it has been public knowledge for some time, we really want to determine what is causing that higher mortality rate so that we can have better preventative measures, treatments, and cures. And so we are enrolling 100,000 Black women so that we can study their lived experiences, their family history, and really kind of get to those solutions. So we are looking for women between the ages of 25 and 55 to join the study, who have not been diagnosed with cancer, and to really, it's a series of surveys. So the first survey will take about an hour to complete, and then through each year, there'll be 2 additional surveys that come out that will only take about 30 minutes to complete. And so again, really looking for women to join us. African American women are underrepresented in population studies around the country, regardless of who's conducting them, outside of the American Cancer Society. So when we enroll the 100,000 Black women, it will be the largest study of African American women, period. And so again, it's just so important that we learn their lived experience so that we can figure out why we are dying at that much higher rate. Just to provide a little bit of context, the American Cancer Society has been conducting population studies since the 1950s. And so today, I call it a duh moment. Most people know that smoking tobacco leads to lung cancer. Well, it was the American Cancer Society that discovered that linkage, and now we have lung cancer screening and we have smoking cessation programs. So again, through this study, Voices of Black Women, we really want to be able to identify that simple linkage, right? That can help African American women prevent cancer and, of course, survive it if they are diagnosed. So if you're eligible, do consider signing up for the study. I am enrolled in the study and really found some of the questions quite interesting and provoking, and am looking forward to hearing our findings. I will say, I heard, I think it was Mr. Jones who was talking about clinical trials earlier, and how there is some, hesitation from the African American community based on history, right? We have Henrietta Lacks, who is right here from Baltimore, and just some of the stuff that has happened. So I will say, read the informed consent. The American Cancer Society is taking it very seriously to keep people's information not only private, but used as described in the consent. And so even though I'm an employee of the American Cancer Society, it was important for me to read that consent because I wanted my information to be private so that my colleagues didn't know, oh, here's Tswana Sewell's information. I was happy to learn that I will turn into an anonymous number so that they're not just looking at my personal health information. So I do say, please just take the few minutes to read the consent. And if you can, sign up for the study, and certainly spread the word. And then also, as I mentioned, Brea was a Faces of Hope through our Making Strides Against Breast Cancer walk. We have a walk coming up, and Sherry has been a participant, and of course Thelma, for many, many, many years. Our walk is coming up on October 18th. We look forward to honoring survivors at our walk. And the American Cancer Society, we note people as survivors from the moment of diagnosis. So no matter where you are in your journey, you are surviving. Come out and walk with us. But this is for all people, to create a sea of pink and really raise awareness for breast cancer, and to raise funds so that we can continue to provide services and conduct research. So we'll be at the Tidal Basin. If you're not familiar, that's where the cherry blossoms bloom. It's a really beautiful walk, walking past the MLK Memorial, the Jefferson Steps. You have the Washington Memorial as a backdrop. And because now we have found that our thousands of participants like to hang out, we have a live band. People are often dancing on Saturday morning, and we'll have our survivor circle, and just so many things to come out and really uplift one another as we kind of take the journey. So as you can see, Thelma has the flyers for both the event and also Voices of Black Women. And hopefully, Thelma, you can send those out after. There is some contact information on the flyer. If you have questions, certainly reach out. And Thelma has my information. If you have any questions about Voices or the American Cancer Society overall. But I will say, Kia, I believe you mentioned earlier just about, advocacy and being diagnosed at a younger age. I do know that the American Cancer Society has certain guidelines, but we also encourage everyone to be their own health advocate. No one knows your body like you do. And so regardless of your age or whatever your background is, if there is something going on with you, to talk to your doctor. I'll just share that my younger sister was diagnosed with breast cancer in her early 30s. And she went to the doctor because she was having some discomfort. First visit, they dismissed her, sent her away. She went back 6 months later, still having discomfort in her breast, and urging the doctor to have a mammogram. They dismissed her, sent her away. She went back several months later after that because her nipples were bleeding. And finally, they took her seriously. she was diagnosed with breast cancer, and she had to have a double mastectomy. And this was when my niece was just about 1 year old, and just really shouldn't have had to wait that long to have her mammogram when she told them the first time that she was having some discomfort in her breast. But I am proud that she advocated for herself and kept going back until they listened. And we believe that's why she's alive and still with us today. So please do be your own health advocate, and please do join us for the walk if you're available. Thank you.
So much for sharing that information. I have to admit, I was off camera. I'm like sending the live stream to other friends and family that I know, because it's like everyone needs to know this. I'm glad it will be broadcast for viewing, so it is on the live stream as well, which would be an important thing to see and for folks to capture for all the reasons that you shared. I'm gonna have to get myself together and get some steps in with y'all coming up soon. So thank you for sharing that. And I'll just note, when I first got diagnosed, as a brother James Williams, who I came to know, who does some work with the American Cancer Society. So you all are everywhere and doing great work. So thank you for continuing to be part of that.
Well, thank you. Thanks for having me today. And I'm sorry I have to jump off early, but I'll be back for another meeting. And please reach out if there are any questions.
I just want to recognize
I just have
Tswana
one
and say that
question. Wait, sorry, Sherry. Just one question. There seems to be an issue of people not being taken seriously. And obviously, I'm asking this question for others. So can you just share with us why doctors are not taking us serious when we...
I don't know exactly why. I will say there was a study that pointed to about 32% of African Americans reported going to the doctor and, not feeling listened to, feeling dismissed, and not truly taken care of. And, for lack of a better word, a social bias, discrimination. So for us, it is really important that we can continue to go back and advocate for ourselves. And if we feel we can't, you could call the American Cancer Society so you can get some guidance and some support there.
Thank you.
I wanted to add that the pillars of the American Cancer Society, the health equity pillar, did add disability, which was very unique. And I had the privilege with a medical doctor to speak to the 200 representatives of the patient support part of the American Cancer Society. Over 200 came on, and I was on it along with a Dr. Johnnie, who was the one that wrote the seminal piece in the New York Times about doctors not wanting to treat individuals with disabilities. So there is real intersectionality. I'm not African American, but I have a disability, and there's African Americans with disabilities that, along with the bias faced by African Americans, medical doctors don't want to treat individuals with disabilities because we're just, quote, too complicated. So I commend the American Cancer Society for doing that. I was thrilled that so many people signed on, and I thank Tswana. I thank you for all you and ACS does. And glad that Thelma and me, and we've all been able to cross over and be a part of it. And you were a great resource for my sister when she was diagnosed with liver cancer. So thank you.
Oh, Sherry, thank you so much for sharing, and thank you for being such a long-time volunteer, donor, advocate, and just true participant in pretty much everything that we do. So thank you, Sherry.
Thank you very, very much. As you said, Thelma, it's very real that this room, this community is one of so much wisdom and the beauty of people willing to share what they know is the strength that we all need and thrive from. So thank you. Thank you for that information, Sherry. I have some thoughts around even how I can share and learn through that too. Thank you for your time, Sister Sewell. Safe travels if you have to go down the hall or down the street. So just wherever you have to do, hopefully we'll see you again. Before we move on, I do have some remarks from a board member of the Thelma D. Jones Cancer Family, Fund and Family, and that is from Reginald Van Lee, who's a philanthropist and honorary board member, who I just had really the pleasure of attending an event with him just last week. And so I'm not going to try to do any impersonations or anything. I will just read the words that he shared briefly before we get into the speaker of the hour, if you will. So Reginald Van Lee is honored to serve as an honorary board member of the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund. Though he cannot join us in person, as he has several times in the past, he is with us in spirit as we celebrate Black Philanthropy Month under the theme, Sankofa Now, Remember, Reclaim, and Rise. He gave me a little shout out in here. And so I'm definitely going to talk again about this Black Philanthropy Month, because it's a critical time for us to really move our resources. In the voice of Brother Van Lee, breast cancer touches me personally. I lost my sister Eva in 2008 at just 59 years old. In her honor, I created the Eva Lee Watkins Theater Arts Fund at Howard University, reflecting our shared love of the arts. Today, as chair of the DC Commission on the Arts and Humanities, I also see opportunities to connect the arts with cancer awareness and healing. I deeply admire our founder, Thelma D. Jones, for her tireless leadership and for reminding us that early detection saves lives and creates better outcomes. Thelma continues to bring inspiring voices to this platform, including tonight's distinguished speaker, Janelle R. Ross, philanthropist and entrepreneur, former NFL player. Ken Harvey won't be with us this time, but we'll get his video another time. We just heard from Ms. Sewell, and we'll hear from Ms. Sylvia Powers. I encourage you to read more about the work on the website, as you all have access to that. And in the recently released Washington Informer Health, Wellness, and Nutrition Special Edition, and to support this grassroots organization that ensures that no one walks alone. To the family of Brea Hickson, please accept his deepest condolences as part of the Evelyn B. Curtis awardee. She was a dedicated and powerful advocate for inflammatory breast cancer awareness, or IBC as it is called. We remain committed to carrying forward her mission and honoring her legacy. And as we celebrate survivors and remember those we've lost, especially warriors like Brea, we rededicate ourselves to supporting families, expanding access to care, and championing early detection. I invite you to partner with us by visiting the fund's website and tapping the beating heart to donate. Thank you again, and greetings to all. Thank you. And so now allow me to pivot. Thelma, I don't know if there's anything else you want to share before I pivot to our speaker for the evening, who's in Ohio, one of the places I used to live once upon a time. I'm really honored to have this chance to talk to you and introduce you to these folk, Ms. Ross. Appreciating this, as I'm calling you Ms. Ross. I saw Diana Ross at the Netherlands this summer. So you're the other Ms. Ross in this space that I so appreciate being in community with you. Y'all, just a brief story about her. She is the president of the Bob Ross Auto Group in Centerville, Ohio, a position she has held since 2010. The company's Mercedes-Benz dealership is the first African-American-owned Mercedes-Benz dealership in the world. And Ms. Ross is the sole second-generation African-American female automobile dealer in the country. The company also represents the Buick and GM brands, and not only serves the dealership's customers, but the community in general. Sitting on many civic boards and committees, she's currently a member of the University of Dayton Board of Trustees and was previously the chair of the board of directors for the Federal Reserve Board of Cleveland, the Cincinnati branch. A charity close to her heart is the Norma J. Ross Memorial Foundation, in honor of her late mother, which supports underserved women affected by breast cancer. Nell earned her bachelor's degree from Emory University in Atlanta. She's an avid golfer, swimmer, and enjoys traveling. With that, I turn it over to you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Jones. I appreciate that introduction. And I just want to say hello to everyone. And I apologize for not being on. I was on, but I was driving at the beginning of the session. But I would want to definitely give kudos and thank you to Jan Adams and Ronette Myers for introducing me to Thelma a few years ago during the pandemic. And we've had the opportunity to speak numerous times since then, because we're both very focused and wanting to be advocates for everyone and their breast health. So thank you for that lovely introduction. I'll just give you a little bit about my background and how I got to NJRMF, and in terms of that being my passion. As Mr. Jones said, I've been very fortunate to grow up in an automobile dealer family. My dad was one of the first African American automobile dealers in the country. And like Mr. Jones said, the first African American Mercedes-Benz dealer. Unfortunately, my dad lost his life early at 62 due to heart disease. And I was thrust into the leadership role of our company at 27 to run the day-to-day operations. So 28 years later, I am, still running the operation, but unfortunately, with the loss of my mother as well, who lost her 8.5-year battle to breast cancer in 2010. As the result of I have several godchildren, but my two oldest godchildren came up with pink ribbon driven and reached out to my attorney to make sure that it had not been used or if it wasn't on the internet or anywhere, because that since we are in automotive, that we are driven to find a cure for the pink ribbon. So Pink Ribbon Driven is our trademark, a part of the Norma J. Ross Memorial Foundation, and we sell merchandise and apparel that my employees at the dealership wear, and that we vend and raise money to help for the foundation throughout the year, not just in October. So one thing that we have continued to do with the foundation is to really focus on the preventative side of NJRMF. Not that we will not support someone going through all aspects of their journey, but what we've really focused on since the pandemic is how can we create the education and the awareness and the prevention around breast health. So we have, even during the height of the pandemic, and I think that was maybe in 21, Thelma, or 22, when I first came on and had the opportunity to speak. And I remember meeting Sherry. So good to see you again. And Miss Adams is on as well. So I would be remiss not to say that. But we have consistently, since the pandemic, utilized both of our hospital organizations here in Dayton, Ohio, to facilitate that preventative piece. So regardless if someone has insurance, underinsured, or no insurance, we will make sure that they get their mammogram. So twice a month, one on a Saturday, 12 months out of the year, we have appointments for those that may be shift workers or not in a position to get to their doctor during the week. And then on an opposite Saturday from that, we use a mobile unit to take that unit, the other hospital group, into the different aspects or different parts of the community so that we're going to them, not necessarily that they have to go to a facility to get their mammogram. And Sherry, I am constantly working with that mobile unit for it to become handicap accessible. So I heard you loud and clear. It's just taking a little more time than I would have thought to make it happen, but I heard you. And I'm definitely continuing to work on that because that is a true need that needs to happen for us to be, that we're fulfilling everyone's need of getting their mammogram. So thank you for that. So we have felt really good about being able to provide those opportunities, and we've had those that have never had mammograms to those that have been have gone several years without mammograms, and unfortunately we have received some diagnosis, but all have been in early stages based upon us trying to continue that advocacy and education and awareness, and the need for preventative mammograms or prevention, to go through the mammogram. So, like I said, though, we do work with those that we help with financial assistance, with food, with helping with families through their journey. With one thing that we've really been doing is for those that need assistance getting to their mammograms outside of our scheduled days. I do own an auto dealership, so we help to provide rides for those that need to get their mammogram. So I know Tswana was on, and I know the American Cancer Society all over the country provides rides to treatment. But what we're doing is helping to provide rides to mammograms. So for us to say, hey, let's continue on this preventative piece so that we don't have to get to the journey to utilize ACS in terms of their ride sharing opportunities. So that's something that we have continued to do. We have also are ambassadors of Voices of Black Women through ACS, so that we are working with those through our network to make sure that they're aware of the opportunities to be involved in that study. And it is extremely important that we are represented, because we are not represented in the clinical trials, and that's where it's really needed. Unfortunately, I had my assistant who went through a triple negative battle of breast cancer, and under her fourth chemo treatment was given an immunotherapy, and it took her into a coma for 10 days. And not having that information, which could come from a clinical trial, of really knowing what side effects and those type of things are, has put her in a detriment of her journey. She's doing great now, with some inabilities, but still being able to function and getting back to somewhat what normal may be, but it's still having a lot of reactions and going through a lot of situations as a result of that time frame. But so it's just another thing that's really important for us to really, in your organizations, in your churches, in your friend groups, and Thelma, if you, I would include that as you go forward with that Voices of Black Women, because it is a QR code. It's very easy to fill out, and even if you're not in the age brackets to fill out the survey, which I'm on the cusp, and I did do it, and I've already received mine last week to update. It's just very important that we have that discussion whenever we're in a group of Black women, to make sure that they take the time to fill that out. So I don't want to take up a whole lot of time, but just over the last 15 years, it's been a true passion to work in the breast health space. Due to me being in automotive, and it was mentioned that I am a golfer, we just had our Mercedes-Benz Championship golf tournament where all of our proceeds went to my mother's foundation. And something we did different this year, we had 2 men to speak on their breast health and their breast cancer journey, because primarily the audience was men. We do a pre-event, which entails a lot of community, family, and sponsors and donors. So I had an African American male, Ernie Green, who's a Cleveland Browns Hall of Famer, who's a breast cancer survivor. So it appealed to that group and that demographic of people. And then during the actual, after the actual golf tournament, which is more sponsor driven, I had a Caucasian male who basically said he was going through, his point system, from a corporate perspective, like, hey, you do your blood tests, you're going to get extra points, and that's going to give you extra PTO or whatever the incentives are. And he went through a test called the Gallery test, and that in turn provided him with his diagnosis. And so it was very telling to get 2 different perspectives from 2 different gentlemen. We do focus a lot on women, and not that we shouldn't, but we don't want to leave out our men in their breast health and making sure that they're checking themselves, you know, on a monthly, annual basis as well. So I just want to say thank you to Thelma and all that you do across the globe. And I look forward to working with many of you, if possible, even from Ohio. We too are getting ready to gear up for our Making Strides event, which is, I think, the week before yours. And I believe is it Sylvia was on the call? Sylvia's on the call, so we've connected in email. So I know we're looking forward to connect. But I just appreciate all that everyone does, and I commend Major Hickson for even having the strength to get on the call this evening due to his loss, and my prayers are definitely with him and his entire family. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I was getting my hearts together. I realized that there's a pink heart on here too. I need to make sure I start using that in my celebration. I have a few minutes for Q&A. If there are any questions from anyone, I always got questions, but I definitely want to open it up to the floor. If there's anyone that has a question or two, please, let's take a moment and take advantage of this time. Yes, Kia, I see you. Well, that rhyme. Kia, I see you.
Yes, I'm here. Not necessarily a question, but maybe part of an answer about about why doctors don't hear us or misdiagnosis or in that arena. When I found my lump and I went to my primary care doctor and you know, told her what my concern was, and she felt my breast and all of that. She initially said it may be bone calcification and not a lump. And when I went back to her after I was diagnosed in the scans and everything, I was like, why would you say bone calcification? She was like, because you were so overly anxious and hysterical. And, you know, I was crying because of the thought of breast cancer before I'm 40. And she was like, I was just trying to calm you down, that I didn't want to give you the worst case scenario, even though I thought that it probably was breast cancer. I wanted to tell you that maybe it was just maybe a cyst or something that had formed into what you were feeling, but it wasn't necessarily breast cancer. I don't know if that would apply to all of your stories, but I also had a sister who was diagnosed with breast cancer. She didn't have health insurance. She was on Medicaid. This was about 10 years ago, maybe 12 years ago. And she had gone to GW Hospital. They sent her home and told her that it was nothing or whatever. The lump grew and she ended up going to Washington Hospital Center, and they diagnosed her with breast cancer. And she ended up passing away several months later because of lymphedema, because she wasn't told about, she had a mastectomy, but they didn't tell her about the precautions of not having blood drawn or blood pressure cuffs or anything on that arm, on that side where your mastectomy is. And that side of her body swelled up and got infected, and she passed away from lymphedema. So I don't know if maybe it's the doctors not wanting to tell overly excited women, because I remember looking back, I was extremely overly excited. I was hysterical and I was in tears. I don't know if that's them maybe downplaying it because they don't want to scare us, or, you know, but when I got diagnosed and I started going to treatment at GW, I had to have a serious talk with my family and was like, okay, this is where Marie went, and they sent her home and misdiagnosed her, but I'm getting a completely opposite reaction from the doctors. I have top tier platinum level Care First insurance, and I'm getting the red carpet rolled out for me at my treatments and doctor's appointments and everything. And I was like, you know, I hope it doesn't hit any of you all too emotionally to come back into this place where our sister was sent home. But
Here, because thank you for sharing all of that. And I just want to make sure that everyone understands that we really welcome comments, and I certainly don't want to put Janelle on the spot. We are unable to give medical advice. And so when we have questions about things like that, it's very important that we continue to talk to medical professionals about it. But I do support the notion, as Tswana Sewell was saying earlier, if we don't get the answer that we need from one doctor,
Right.
then we should go elsewhere.
I mean, it's always best to have a second opinion, even, whatever you're feeling. It could be heart related, lung related, breast related. But one thing I would also say is that advocacy piece, because what you were saying, Kia, is happening to a lot of women. I mean, to walk into your primary care doctor with a lump and having someone else with you, and I know that it could be a family member, a friend. That's where we really need to make sure that we don't go those routes alone, if at all possible, so that if you're having one of those bad days, which is definitely in reason to be having, that you do have someone there that can help advocate for you always, in your best interest, so that you got, I mean, as they always say, two heads are better than one.
Yeah.
And it's truly the way it needs to be from anything medically related.
Yeah. Thank you, and thank you for sharing your story, Kia. I'm just reminding myself of when I was first diagnosed, and coming to meet Dr. Uche Blackstock, who is a noted physician in out of New York, who's written book particularly around the idea of just how inequitable our healthcare system can be, and even bottom line racist in so many different ways. And her being the founder of the Advancing Health Equity space, because there are so many of these stories that we have, right, where people have had experiences that have been good or bad. Even if you have top tier insurance, I can tell you my insurance is pretty good, but I've had a couple of instances where the insurance company came back and declined treatment that my doctor recommended, saying it was not considered medically essential. And I remember having to call one time and saying, do you all want me dead? I mean, whoever got answered that phone call, it's probably like, oh, I wish I hadn't answered the call that day, but I got the treatment I needed. And sometimes it's not only even getting the care and being in community, but it's also the advocacy I've learned to be so critically important in this journey, irrespective of the illness or even the idea of prevention. So, I really applaud you, Janelle Ross, in the spirit of having work around the prevention, like the idea of us really going even upstream to where we need to get testing that is oftentimes prohibited. I know the American Cancer Society has been trying to do work around getting prostate PSA testing to be free or low cost and affordable for folks, because sometimes the idea of getting access to care or even getting the testing itself is prohibitive for folks. So it's really kudos to you. My car was stolen a couple of weeks ago, but if I was closer to you, I might have jumped into your one of your dealerships and at least taken a look, maybe a test drive, even if I can't afford it.
Well, we can ship anywhere in the United States, so that's not a
I
problem.
knew you were gonna say that.
So that's not an issue.
That's
I
not a
need to keep that
problem.
in mind, right? Get rid of this rental car. But if there are no other questions, I definitely want to applaud you.
I do.
Thelma, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a question. And I appreciate sharing about the great work that the Norman J. Ross Memorial Foundation is doing. Without theme being a lot about philanthropy and looking back. And I know you mentioned how early you assumed the role of leadership at your dealership. What, looking back, did you have to do in order to move forward and to ensure that Bob Ross Auto still remained a great place, thrive, and it's going to be around for a while? That's one question. And then what do you have certain pointers that you look at when you're getting ready to make an investment from a philanthropic way? What guides that decision?
So I'd say for the first question, fortunately, I had the opportunity to work with, I grew up in the business working vacations, holidays, summers, maybe not in an official capacity, but basically whatever my dad told me to do. But I did work with him, I would say seriously after graduation from college for about 4.5 years. And I'm very fortunate for that time because you never know. At that point, I always grew up wanting to be an automobile dealer, but obviously always thought that he would be around a lot longer to provide guidance and support, and me the opportunity to continue to learn from him. So by him passing at an early age, and customarily when that happens, a lot of people do vacate the dealership and look for another stable dealership because, it's a change in ownership, a change in direction. But fortunately, we had a lot of long-term, managers and key personnel that remained with us and allowed me the opportunity, because I had gained their trust, to work with them, and they still saw it as a value for them and their families to be a part of our organization. So I was truly blessed, and I attribute that all to him and how he worked with his team and his leadership, of them understanding the importance, and that it takes us working on it together. I can't be in 3 buildings at once with, less than 100 people. So I have to have people that understand our mission and our vision of what we're there for, and it is for our customer. So, I have been blessed to have a lot of long-term employees. And, at that point when my father passed, a lot of our managers had been in the business as long as I'd been living, or even been employed with us as long as I had been living. So, I'd had to kind of dig deep and realize and really focus on what they brought to the table. And that really allowed me the opportunity to learn and grow, and to get us where we are today. We're in our 51st year of business, and we're the longest owned African American auto dealership and business in the country. So we're doing something right. We're not perfect, but we're still trying to perfect what we do day in and day out. And in regards to your second question, you were asking for pointers in regards to how I choose which things from a philanthropic, which is extremely difficult. So my mother's foundation is set up to support obviously breast health, but also youth, because her first career and love was elementary education. So a lot of things that we do in the community are centered around minority youth, but also with our breast health, we're educating. So education can come in a lot of different ways, and so that's really where we focus on, is youth, especially minority youth, and causes and health, either breast or heart health for my dad. And by me being an African American female, there's only 3 of us in the country out of close to 18,000 new car auto dealerships. So even locally, I receive a lot of asks, and a lot of those, my peers, may not get asked to do, to support things in our community, or even from a female perspective. So it's unfortunate we can't support everything, and we try to do those things if we can't, maybe something in kind. It could be a speaker coming in, and maybe we provide them a driver and a vehicle instead of giving hard dollars for that event, but it's still helping them provide a successful event for whatever the case may be. And I'm just using that as an example. But we've been very blessed in our community. The Philharmonic renamed a concert series in my mother's name based
That's
upon
nice.
her involvement for decades. And there's things as well in my dad's name. So those things I don't take lightly, and we continue to try to build on those and making sure that the decisions that we do make are reflective of our organization as well as them.
Okay. Thank you. So I think we can move on now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you, and thank you for your time with us once again. Let's give a round of applause
Thank
for
you.
Janelle Ross and all the work you do. Thank you. So with this, for updates.
Yes, I did talk to Sergio, and he was able to get the video working on Ken Harvey. As a matter of fact, that's it now.
Hi, this is Ken Harvey, former NFL player, played for the Washington football team for 5 years and went to the Pro Bowl for those 5 years. And you know, I will say I am saddened that I can't be there live with you all. Things have come up, and just unfortunately I can't make it. But I do want to talk to you about philanthropy, as this is Black Philanthropy Month. You know, as a former athlete, people look at you and they expect that all athletes should give back. It's kind of an unwritten rule. If you're an athlete, it's your job to give back. And athletes sometimes buy into it, some of them don't. But the reality is that it's no one's job that you don't have to do that. The importance is the reason why people do it. And the reason why a lot of athletes do give back is because they understand that in this great scheme and thing of life, to make it to a position, to do what they're doing, to have the freedom or the joy or whatever they are in whatever they are doing, it's because of a lot of people that have helped them along the way. There's no self-made person in the world. Everyone has helped somewhere down the line along the way. And athletes, more than anybody, remember and like to give back because they understand that it's through the efforts of a lot of others that you are in the position that you're in. And so as you guys gather today to talk about philanthropy and philanthropists, and you discuss your legacy and what are you leaving, understand that it's not for a trophy or a picture on the wall or something that your kids can look back and say, so-and-so did this. Some of the biggest philanthropists are the ones you've never heard of. And the gifts that they've given or some things that you see no value in, a simple smile, a pat on the back, you can do it attitude. To give back is just more of a continuation of life, of seeing from where you've come from, your growth, and then realizing that at the end, it all means nothing if you can't give back. It gives you a sense of purpose. It gives you a sense of identity to look at someone else's need and to realize that you could be the very tool that can help change where they're at, that can help change the situation, that you could be the very person through your efforts, whether it's finance, time, inventions, ideas, whatever the case may be, you could be the very person. Your efforts could be the very thing that changed the world. As we talk about philanthropy, and as says that as athletes oftentimes get pointed out as doing good and giving back, and you look at it and you say, well, they're giving back out of their abundance. There's no reason that you have to give back. No one's forcing you to give back. But it is a reminder, as I said earlier, it is a reminder that, but for the grace of God, you're not in that position, or you understand what that position is like. You understand the need in that position. You understand that without help, someone may not move on. You understand that there's those who have a need and those who have the ability to supply a need. Whatever you're doing and however you're doing it, hats off to you. It's an honor to speak to, or to at least be a part of an event where so many good people are doing so many good things. And you may not get the biggest publicity in the world. It may not be on TV and get thousands of streams and all that stuff. But the reality is that You are a hero to somebody. Your efforts are not in vain. When you give back, it's digging deep inside your soul and empathizing with others, sympathizing with others, understanding that you're not there, but you can easily be there. And so I thank you all for allowing me to give a few minutes, a few moments of words. I try personally to give back as much as I can, because I see it's so many small steps, so many small people along the way were the very ones that helped me out. A meal here and there when they didn't have to. $5 when they didn't have to. Clothes on my back when they didn't have to. People helped me out along the way. And as I look into the eyes of our kids and the next generation coming up, those are the very ones that we have to teach to empathize with others. We have to teach to learn to give back, because if we don't, this world's going to be a lot crazier place. So thank you guys for allowing me to ramble on, if you will, and congratulations on all that you're doing. And I wish you all the best of success. Thank you.
He made about why athletes give, many reasons, but one of it is apparently, and we all know there's a lot of expectations. Well, not only athletes, but for people who have money, that's just something we expect them to do, is give. So we want to thank him for that. In addition to being a football player and a philanthropist, he is also a health advocate and a published author. So, and we will invite Ken back at another time, and wanted to thank Alan Herbert, who is the breast cancer survivor that has spoken numerous times on the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund support group meeting. Ken Harvey connected me to Alan Herbert. Alan lives in Las Vegas. Ken is here in the region. Ken Harvey was introduced to me by Jan Adams, just like our wonderful guest speaker, Janelle Ross, was introduced by Jan and her daughter, Ronette Myers. And of course, the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund, has introduced Ken Harvey to other people, but more specifically, Alan Herbert. We have introduced him to Sylvia Powers with NCBC, and I had known Alan for a couple of only talking via video and text message. And thanks to NCBC's conference in Vegas, which is where Alan lived, I had the opportunity to actually see him in person. So all that to say that, as Johnnie said, people come into our lives for a reason. And this reason for these two gentlemen has been to help to advance the work of the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund. And thank you again, Jan, for introducing not only Ken Harvey, but as equally well for introducing Janelle Ross. So thank you, Janelle.
Thank you.
If there was anything else to do, but I think we have a chance to have some remarks from Sylvia, the powerful Sylvia Power.
Thank you so very much. This has been amazing. Janelle, the presentation was absolutely wonderful. I look forward to speaking with you later. These meetings are always enriching and empowering. But I feel so excited to be talking this month when it is Black Philanthropy Month, and that philanthropy means the desire to promote the welfare of others, expressed through generosity of donations. And as nonprofits, I think one of the points that Thelma was making, a lot of times we look for the people that have the corporations, the grants, the people that we look at as having large access to revenue, like celebrities and football players, but we all have the capacity to be philanthropists. And as I was thinking about tonight and the power of Black dollars and the power of Black wealth, that we make a point of finding out where the donation button is on the Thelma D. Jones Foundation website, and that we make a donation, whatever that is, because I look at the power of President Barack Obama's campaign. It wasn't the large donors. When they broke down the great amount of money that he made, it was the $25 donors. That as we string those together, they turn into millions. So I just hope that we look at our power to give back. And what I do during this month is I take a certain amount of money that I'm going to give and I donate to other organizations. And that's my way of giving back. But that we realize that we don't have to wait for that large donation to come through, because it's the church mothers, it's the choir members, it's the neighbors. All those small donations can really build up to be a lot. So I hope that we realize that we have the power in our hands to make a difference, and that we use that, because that becomes our voice as we begin to pour into other organizations and see them flourish. And our resources, our contacts. I've helped other nonprofits. Maybe I can't use a grant, but they can use it. So how we, within our own circle, become wealthy by enriching those that are in our network. And I definitely want to encourage, and I know Thelma is my co-chair for the Advocacy Committee for the National Consortium of Breast Centers, which is interdisciplinary. It deals with everything from early detection to treatment to diagnosis to aftercare. So we're really excited this year. For the first time in 35 years, the conference is going to be in Cleveland, Ohio. And we've put together an amazing, amazing program. And we're hoping that you're going to want to come. So look forward to giving you more information on that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Ohio's represented in this building on today. That's for sure. I heard so much of the soul music originated in Ohio, and so I'm appreciating hearing all these souls that are pouring into our community as well. So that's beautiful. Thank you, Sylvia, for sharing.
Thank you.
Advocating. Sergio, for putting the link in the chat. Because as I know in the space that I've been in, Black philanthropy is definitely a powerhouse that's oftentimes not given its due. Even as Ken Harvey said, a lot of times folks do the work, and it's not necessarily for fame or fortune, or even for attention, but to be aware that we are oftentimes our best givers to us of our time, our talent, treasure, or even testimony in these spaces. And so it all counts and it all matters. And to that, I think we have another newer voice to the community, Thelma. Mr. Levy, who's been waiting patiently.
Yes.
Mr. Levy, who's going to be my navigator one day. Would you like to share a little bit about the work that you're doing in Georgetown?
Yes. Thank you guys so much. It's been a great evening just listening to all you guys talk about all the different work that you guys are currently doing within the community. I really appreciate this work, and I'm happy to be on this call today just to get all this knowledge, because it's the first time I've ever been on a call like this. So I'm really happy to be here today, and thank you, Ms. Thelma, for inviting me. So I am a men's health navigator for the Ralph Lauren Center for Cancer Prevention at Georgetown University. There we do a lot of community outreach, health education, patient navigation, of course, and a lot of different clinical trials. And recently we created this men's health event to really promote men's health within the DMV area, because it's a topic that's not really talked about within the DMV area. And we really wanted to outreach and get a lot of people to support this event. So if I can, I don't know if I can share, or I can't share my screen, but let me put the file into the chat so actually you guys can see it.
Oh, Sergio may be able to, I'm sorry that you won't be able to share the screen.
I can make you host, okay?
Oh,
Oh, please do.
Okay.
It would be nice if we could see the screen,
Yes.
Yes.
the flyer.
I appoint you as a host. I think you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Great, great,
Chris,
great.
you're official now, so
Yes, I have
okay.
to look. Give me one moment. Let me pull up the
No
flyer.
problem. I'll be happy to talk while you're doing that. I am honored to say that since 2015, I have served on Georgetown Lombardi's Ralph Lauren Cancer Center Advisory Community Council. So I am happy to be a part of Georgetown Lombardi and to welcome Chris to talk about the men's health event.
Yes. So on Saturday, September 20th, our office is hosting a men's health event. It's gonna run from 11 to 3 on Sycamore and Oak. So this event is really for the whole family. It may just be the topic may be men's health, but we're really focusing on everybody. We're gonna have food, it's gonna be raffles, tickets, a lot of free giveaways. We're gonna be doing on-site men's cancer screening. So there's gonna be different nurse practitioners, doctors there to really be able to do a consult first to see if you need a screening. And then if you do need a screening, they can perform the screening live. There's going to be free blood pressure checks for everybody within the community. We're going to have researchers there on site to really explain the type of research they're doing within cancer prevention, cancer research, just to really have the community understand what's already happening within our area. There's going to be some exercise boot camps. So we're going to have fitness professionals coming, and it's going to be different fitness boot camps where people can work out, learn about healthy eating, learn about keeping your body and your mind right. We're going to have some interactive activities such as we're going to have a colon, and you can go through the colon and see different things within the colon and what a polyp looks like. So it's going to be a really good time for the whole family. We're going to have a kids section where they can have face paint, games and interactive stuff for the kids. And we have a special go-go band that's going to be performing at kind of like halftime. It's called Mumbo Sauce. So just to keep the environment light, this is an event that we really want to promote to the whole DMV area, because men's health is really important. It's not talked about as much as it needs to, and we really want to outreach to everybody. So if you do want to register for the event, you can scan the QR code right here, or you can just share. I can share this flyer with them or put it in the group chat so you guys can share with your own connection. And I really do hope you guys do show up so I can see you guys in person and just learn about the work you guys are already doing within the community. Once again, my name is Chris, and I really thank you guys for listening to my little talk about this event.
Well, thank you, Brother Chris. And I just want to shout out that I'm really pleased to see that you all are going to be at Sycamore and Oak. That if you've not been east of the river to see this space, it is a beautiful, beautiful space in Southeast DC. So I got my QR code. I'm signing up, and I like Mumbo Sauce. They jam. I love the group. So it should be a fun time. Maybe we can all get there and do a two-step or so.
It's gonna be a great time. I hope to see you there. I'm looking forward to seeing you there, actually.
Oh, okay. Sounds good, brother. Sounds good. And so next up, Nyani Booker.
Okay. Well, it's a family organization, and we started it last year. And the reason behind it is because our family has a deep history of breast cancer, starting with my great aunt, which is my grandmother's sister. Then her daughter had ovarian cancer, but from breast cancer, my great aunt, my aunt, which is my sister's mother, my mother, and my sister. And just recently, we got another breast cancer diagnosis of my great aunt's middle daughter. So The one thing that really, I guess you can say, was the catalyst to this was the fact that my sister kept it to herself. And that's one thing that we do in Black families. We don't tell anybody, oh, we don't want to bother you, but it is very important to know your family history so that all of your other family can be prepared and to know what to look out for and know how to advocate for themselves when they go to the doctor. And I also started an organization because I was like, I know there's more information out there for us, because as we all discussed earlier, we have to advocate extra hard for ourselves when we go to the doctor. So I thought of, maybe we can just put together an organization that brings forth all Black owned organization that can provide resources to Black families in our communities. So it's more of a passion project than anything, and I am grateful for Ms. Jones. And I met Ms. Jones on the way to visit my dad, and they live in the same building. And when I met Ms. Jones, she was the first person that I shared my thought with outside of my cousin that I started the company with. And I shared the information with her, and we immediately connected. And she was the recipient of our inaugural foundation. And from there, she made me a community partner. And I've just been meeting amazing throughout this journey. And I'm grateful to see what's to come. And also I'm so sorry, the gentleman whose wife who transitioned, like I want to offer my condolences, and I also want to touch on what he said about being able to prepare, because though my sister kept it a secret from us, we were still able to talk to her, and she was able to let us know what she wanted and how to care for my niece and everything before she transitioned. So it's definitely a part of my journey. It's not something that I ever saw myself doing, but once my sister transitioned, it was just a fire inside of me that I just could not ignore any longer. And I just couldn't sit around and do absolutely nothing about it. So I got together with a couple family members. And like, honestly, these foundations, these fundraisers that we've been having has been out of pocket, because I haven't made it a 501c3 yet. I haven't filed any paperwork. We just like, let's just do it. And then we'll get the paperwork in eventually, but let's just do it because we need to get these people out here. We need to get people informed. We need to get out these resources. So here we are, Legacy of Hope, DC. We're out here just doing it. And again, thank you all for this opportunity. I appreciate you, Ms. Jones.
Thank you so much. We know that people do come into our lives. It's not coincidence. They come into our lives for a reason. And you reminded me in the spirit of that. I got to attend an event. Mahogany Books hosted their Black Books Matter Festival a couple of weeks ago and had these amazing folks there. One of whom I met, who was celebrating you also, Thelma, and that's Neosha Ponder. I put a link to her book in the chat, just in conversations. Her book, God's Got Jokes, telling her personal story. But just as you mentioned, Niani, the importance of folks telling their stories and sharing, as we've all heard and shared journeys today, it's life-giving. It is truly life-giving in the spirit of it all. And so thank you again, Sister Booker, for telling and sharing yours and for sharing your family with us. This is what the village does when it's strongest. So
thank you so much. Actually, I'm divorced now, so it's Wilkerson.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
So
You're gonna name it right. Okay, Mr. Wilkerson.
Yes,
right.
yes. I'm back to my maiden name. Yes.
All right.
But it's Wilkerson now. But thanks again, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for sure. As you've heard today, August is Black Philanthropy Month. And in the spirit of Black giving, in the spirit of us really leveraging the blessings and benefits and gifts that we have, to not keep them to ourselves, but to be a blessing to others is really, really important. And so as you saw in the chat, truly are not just surviving but thriving. Has always been giving, the spirit of and the power of giving. Someone has given of themselves somewhere along the way to make it possible for us to be here today. And so we would not be doing our duty on this earth as we walk in this space, and without understanding that it's so much power in the giving. I'm deeply appreciative of being a part of this community, of the community that you built, Thelma, where sometimes when folks are in spaces or have had life-altering experiences, that can take different paths, but clearly you use your test, as it were, to be a testimony, as well as a way in which to give and give of others. I was just on a website, it's called The Giving Gap, which some folks created as a means of identifying causes and Black-led, Black-focused causes and issues of all types. And I just noticed, Thelma, that your organization is not on that list. We need to get you on that list because it's truly a platform for making opportunities for folks to give as they can and when they can. It's so rich, Sylvia, for you to mention how important that sometimes so little can once accumulated, it can mean so much. But it starts oftentimes with just a little, and everyone can find ways through which to do that. And so we definitely want to make sure that we pour into you. I'm gonna look into my piggy bank and break it and find some way to share, to drop you a couple of dollars on my end. And then think about this other great organizations in the communities where we all live. These organizations need us now more than ever. As was said, I work for an organization called the Association of Black Foundation Executives that's been around for over 50 years. And it was built on the idea of getting more folks that look like us in philanthropy, not just to survive the space, but to thrive. And then also through connections to give opportunities to give back, identify strategies. And in this land, in this space where we're witnessing resources, critical, life-saving resources being taken away, when we're witnessing even the ideas of our history being called to question, we need so much more of us to stand up, to be registered to vote, do all the things that we need to do in order to make sure that we are here for our families and our families' families and our children's children in this space. With that in mind, I'm going to reintroduce, I believe we have a video from Reggie Van Lee, which is a beautiful story about this one man who's a philanthropist. And it's timely for me to name, or for us to talk about him as a notable Black philanthropist, because I remember when what I call the Blacksonian, some of us call the Blacksonian, but the National Museum of African American History and Culture, when it opened its doors, now celebrating 10 years, it was an amazing time. And Reggie Van Lee was one of those individual donors who gave of himself to help pool resources to help make that museum so. And it pains me to see that there are politicians that are questioning the history within those walls, questioning, do we need to talk about it? And we absolutely need to. Just as we talk about these other stories of our own thriving and surviving through dangers seen and unseen, for sure. And so with what we'll hear from how Reggie is giving back with his family home in Texas, I'd love to invite us all to think about how we too can be philanthropists and give back to the spirit and the joy that's necessary through whatever resources we might have in order to be a better neighbor to our neighbors, and hopes of people being good neighbors to us.
And very quickly, before we play the video, I want to mention that the newsletter that was issued today, the Thelma D. Jones monthly newsletter, featured our guest speaker, Janelle Ross. So if you haven't had a chance to read the newsletter, please do. Sherry Dinkinson has already told. Sherry and Kia have informed us that it's an excellent newsletter. Please read more details about Janelle Ross and the great work that she is doing. And also Kia is profiled in the newsletter. And when we talk about, when we think about our theme of looking back, the Thelma D. Jones Breast Cancer Fund would be remiss if I didn't mention Tracy Webb, who is a longtime philanthropist who started Black Benefactors and was an architect behind the inception of Black Philanthropy Month, which gave my organization the inspiration to start recognizing Black philanthropy. Just wanted to give a shout out to Tracy. And I know we have held you long enough, but to thank all of our wonderful speakers again, Janelle Ross, Sylvia Powers, also Kia, Chris, Jan Adams, Ken Harvey, and of course, our MC, Edward Jones. And if I forgot anyone, please blame it on my head and not my heart. So thank you.
Thank you, Thelma, Cousin Jones.
So speaking about philanthropy, this video embraces family living, of giving back. Reggie is making an effort to keep the home and his family. So all of his family lives together in Texas. And he has invited me there now for 3 or 4 years, and I haven't made it yet, but I'm getting closer because I'm going to an event for Sylvia in December.
1800s. Now, we first told you about it in 2017. And, you know, over the years, this may be the story I've been asked about most. I was out and about covering something else when I virtually caught up with Harvard grad, Houston consulting executive, and former Alvin Ailey dancer Reggie Van Lee, who built the house for himself and his sisters. The story behind this mansion is just about as stunning as the home itself.
I built this house not just for my immediate family, but for my extended family, including friends.
Reggie, so the story that I did with you got millions of views. Why do you think it struck a chord with so many people?
And it just awakened in people the recognition that at the end of the day, all we really have is family, and that too many people, Black people in particular, have given up family land.
You arrive at the master suite on a separate side of the home. Notice this picture of Reggie with Rosa Parks, this one with President Clinton, and this photo with former First Lady Michelle Obama.
When people saw my story, they said, you know, we can do that. We should do that.
You've lived at the family home with 3 of your sisters for how long?
As you saw, the house is large enough so that when you really want to be by yourself, you can. But when you want to be with others, you can as well. And the having dinners together, the family dinners together, it's just amazing.
The home has every beautiful room you can think of, including a beauty salon and a helicopter landing pad where you land there sometimes.
Exactly. It is an 1.5-hour drive from the Intercontinental Airport out there, and it's a 35-minute helicopter ride. And the helicopter pad is right on the property. There's also a chapel in the house because we are a religious family. We use all the space. We have managed to have my 77-year-old sister who, when she was 76, got married for a second time. She and her now husband are both widowed. We held the wedding in the great room, 300 seated guests. And then this past year, in May, during Memorial Weekend, we celebrated the 125th anniversary of my great-grandmother purchasing that land. She bought the land in 1899.
What's going to happen with the land? You guys are having a big family meeting this weekend to talk about it, right?
Exactly. So I wanted very much for this land and this house to stay in the family. And so in my will, it says there's no family member lives in the house. The house actually goes to the Texas Historical Society. It's not going to be a situation where Uncle Reggie dies and they sell everything and split the money up, especially in these times where there's so many forces of evil against us as people and against people coming together in love as opposed to being divisive. I think families should try to be the ones to send that message of togetherness.
Oh, what a beautiful family and a phenomenal idea.
Oh, you went on mute.
Okay, I apologize that it was longer than it should have, but thank you so much, all of you, from the bottom of my heart, for being patient as we celebrate Black Philanthropy Month and highlight the philanthropic efforts of the work that people such as Janelle Ross, Jan Adams, and many others on the list are doing. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Your
Have a
work,
good evening.
Sergio.
Thank
Thank
you.
Wow.
Thank you. Have a
Thank
great
you,
evening.
Thank you.
Mr. Jones.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Good night.